What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and we're going to talk about Le'Veon Bell real quick and my Philadelphia Eagles and how they relate. So I am recording this actually before the Eagles and Titans play. We're getting 3 videos out today. Huskies, we got the live grades, and this will be out tonight at some point, if and not sooner, if the trade happens. But a bunch of official NFL sources, Jason LaCanfora, just I think Morton said, Chris Mort, the Mort Report. I think just, and then there's just other smaller things on Twitter. Kind of have things pointing towards the direction the Philadelphia Eagles are the favorites to potentially land Le'Veon Bell from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now, these are all the same sources and stuff that said Philadelphia was the overwhelming favorite to land Josh Gordon, and then we saw him go somewhere else. So, you need to put everything into perspective, but I still feel I should give my opinion on the matter. First up, the cost. The asking. We know from these same reports what the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking for right now. They're looking for a second-round pick and a player. Philadelphia has 2 second-round picks, so from that standpoint, maybe that's where all these insiders are making the assumption that, a team like Green Bay that has 2 first-rounders, you're not going to give up a first-round pick for a running back that you get to pay unbelievable amounts of money, because the only people that do that are the New York Giants when they draft a running back like Saquon Barkley in the top 5 picks. And you have to pay him with a starting salary that puts him, top 6, top 7 in the NFL. It's just not smart roster management, and Dave Gettleman is one of the worst GMs in the league, and that's a mistake you let the Giants make. Smart franchises don't do that. So now trying to understand that, you're dealing with second-round picks, and the value starts to trump what the contract's going to cost for Le'Veon Bell at a running back position that is drastically undervalued right now. I have to look at the Philadelphia Eagles as a team that has so many people are making a big deal with Philly's cap space this upcoming year. Like, oh, they're over the cap right now. Yeah, but things are going to clear up. I would say without any drastic moves happening, Philly will probably be $8 to $12 million under the cap next year when we start. Like, that's the kind of money that we're going to be working with. But the issue is the re-signing. That might be the money that we're working with, because when Nick Foles comes, that's $20 million off the books. Jason Peters is going to retire. Darren Sproles. You got to assume that Roddy McLeod will probably get cut. You got to assume that someone like Timmy Jernigan, who I think would free up like $8 million, he very well could get cut. We don't know yet, or at least on the bubble, right? So, when you understand that, like, I'm more prioritizing keeping our own. Jordan Hicks looks like right now, so far through X amount of games, looks like the Jordan Hicks from 2 years ago, where he was, I think, number 2 linebacker in the league after Luke Kuechly for pass coverage ability. And if Jordan Hicks can stay healthy for a full 16 games, I'm probably going to one-up Jordan Hicks, because our linebacking core is very, very weak. And then you got to look at someone like Nelson Agholor. Why not get a deal done now if the evaluation is met, that we evaluate Nelson Agholor as a slot wide receiver, and so does him and his agent, not this outside wide receiver bullshit that while we've been missing Alshon Jeffrey, Nelson Agholor hasn't been able to make that move to be an outside wide receiver 1. So understanding that Nelson Agholor is never going to be a wide receiver 1, if we can come to terms with a proper valuation on that and not overpay a slot wide receiver like the Cleveland Browns are doing. Has Jarvis Landry even gone over 100 yards yet to be that expensive slot wide receiver? Don't think so. If Philly can meet on fair valuation with Jordan Hicks and Nelson Agholor, I'd much rather use that money than say what it's going to cost to have Le'Veon Bell on the books. Now, you understand that we have impending free agents. Jay Ajayi is probably going to go. With Darren Sproles gone, Corey Clement and Josh Adams are the 2 running backs on our roster. And, like, that's like one of those underlining factors. Like, that kind of, doesn't that tell you how Philadelphia values their running backs? That our 2 starters next year could very well be undrafted free agents. We went the drafted route with Donnell Pumphrey, didn't work out. But I'm telling you, man, I feel confident that if we had Corey Clement and Josh Allen as our running backs next year, like, there's optimism that that will work. Now, there's no for sure that could be our running back tandem, and because of that uncertainty, that's why I'm even entertaining the thought of Le'Veon Bell. But I just think, like, if Philly right now, that's where things are going. I'm going to be very, very skeptical that Philly locks down a deal with Jay Ajayi unless his knee scares off other teams and he takes a team-friendly deal to come back to Philly. He's going to be gone. Darren Sproles already said this is his last year. So knowing that 2 undrafted free agents is the valuation Philly has on their starting running backs next year, that seems like they're going for a cost-friendly approach at the running back spot. And I highly doubt that the reason why they're going for that cost-friendly approach is because they've been trying to save up and work a way to have Le'Veon Bell on the books. So under the assumption that now we're just trying to be in a slight fantasy world and talking about the Philadelphia Eagles landing Le'Veon Bell, though the asking price is a second rounder and a player, and I've had a couple Steelers fans on Twitter tweet me with what they would want from the Philadelphia Eagles, and dead ass, this seems like the most common trade would be a second round pick and Ronald Darby for Le'Veon Bell. And my question to you guys, first and foremost, is would you make that trade? I absolutely would. If we are making this trade, it is a foregone conclusion. It's just a matter of what compensation they would get. Absolutely give them that. If we have 2 second-round picks, yeah, it stings less. And is there going to be a second-round pick running back next year that's going to be as good as Le'Veon Bell? No. Is there a guy like Ronald Darby? Is he probably going to be on the Eagles next year? No. I don't see any way that we pay Ronald Darby. And with seeing how up and down, hot and cold he's been throughout this season, should we pay him like he's probably going to ask? Like, Ronald Darby's probably going to get top market value. I'd be very, very surprised if he doesn't get a contract that's at least $8 million a year. Like, you know, just think about what Byron Maxwell got a couple years ago coming from Seattle to Philadelphia. Darby's going to get at least that. So there's no chance in hell that, you know, even if we are entertaining Jordan Hicks and Nelson Agholor returning, Darby's just going to be one of those guys. Like Jai, we just don't have enough money to go around. So if we can get a guy that's going to be gone anyways, plus a second-round pick for Le'Veon Bell, I think that would be the price point where I'd be intrigued at making a deal. But again, it all comes back down to roster evaluation. I just don't see a way that if we make this Le'Veon Bell trade that we can sign both Jordan Hicks and Nelson Agholor. And that's a big-time issue, man, because that's where you lose me. A second and Darby for Le'Veon Bell, I'm on board. Le'Veon Bell or having Jordan Hicks and Nelson Agholor, we're a team that has to prepare for the massive contract Carson Wentz is going to get. And right now, the more players that we can sign to good to affordable deals versus the single players that are going to cost massive contracts, you got to go for the quantity over quality. And even the quality's there, let's be honest. Hicks and Agholor are big parts of this team. So for me, the cost to get Le'Veon Bell, I can agree upon. If it's a second rounder in Darby, I think that's great valuation for a guy that, when healthy, is debatably the most complete and dynamic running back in the league. I think my biggest criticism of Le'Veon Bell has been maybe the offensive line made Le'Veon Bell more than people are giving it credit to, because he has that patient running style, right? That's Le'Veon Bell's big thing, is he can catch he can catch balls out the backfield, and his whole, like, I'm gonna stand behind the line of scrimmage for 2-3 seconds and then go. So Le'Veon Bell, if this is a scenario that, you know, the trade is not Pittsburgh trying to sabotage him, like I believe the Cleveland Browns did with Josh Gordon by sending him to the Patriot way, New England Patriots, where there's like 0% success rate that's going to work out. If the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't sabotaging, Le'Veon Bell will not want to go to a team like the Jets. He will not want to go to a team like the Packers, teams that do not have good offensive lines. He's going to want to go to a team that has an O-line that can suit his play style, which would definitely be the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles got, I would say, top 5 offensive line, no homer bias. So knowing all that, at the end of the day, for me, I just don't see how that contract works with Philly being able to lock up key players that are forward-thinking. You know, getting Nelson Agholor on a realistic deal, getting Jordan Hicks on a realistic deal. All these realistic deals and price valuations will help us come time when we got to pay the piper and pay Carson Wentz. I just don't see how thinking about paying Carson Wentz works with a Le'Veon Bell contract. But you guys can persuade me. Let me know what you think about a second-round pick and a Darby for Le'Veon Bell. If you're an Eagle fan, do you even want Le'Veon Bell to the Philadelphia Eagles? As unrealistic right now, I think this will be. But let me know in the comment section below. I mean, as Eagle fans, we do got to talk about this anytime our team, by credible sources, gets mentioned for a big-time player. I might as well give you my take on it. So let me know in the comment section below. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.